Slide right up. It's not the one we called up, is it? That'd take a while. This is how you come down. Alright, so the sidekick just rode on the quad for the first time, and she sat here just like this the whole way. It was the first time down to the river. She is my first time down to the river since summertime, and it'll be interesting to see if I do bring her down here often. She seems cool right now. She's in no plan to get off the quad, that's for sure, but now I have a little bit of a canine companion with me. It'll be interesting to see what their demeanor does the very odd time while I'm out in places like this recording. Right? It'll be interesting. She's getting a little brave. I bought a little bit of a run here to put her on so she doesn't take off. And everything too, a lot of people that don't live rural or may not live where there is an abundance of big cats, one fact is that all single by themselves dogs, especially the smaller the better, are a prime target for large cats. Any canine is the #1 enemy of any wolf. I don't think there's no wolves around here yet, I know of, but there's definitely a lot of big cats. And one time in south end of Vancouver Island, a handful of years ago, there was a documented case in a park near a place called Sasquatch where a cougar actually came up and ripped the dog and its leash out of the owner's hand and took off with it. So, she's a little bit young yet, and I won't be letting her run amok. You shouldn't let your dogs run around uncontrolled out around here anyway. You just shouldn't. It's too much shit for them to get into and other people to intimidate when they get bigger, and game to chase. So, I brought her a little run. I'm going to put her on the cord. She can sniff her on the quad while I get some very important voices heard. Okay, you ready? There's an abundance of dead salmon in the bottom of the river, so I'm guessing that was coho salmon, maybe some chum in there. But I haven't really looked yet. Oh yeah, there's big fresh bear tracks right there. I was just gonna say I don't see any bear tracks, and there's a brand new big one going right along here. So that's another reason to keep this little mini black bear cub on her run. Alright. Here's the tracks. It's not a monster bear, but it's a fair-sized black bear. This is a larger sized winter boot with the big felt boot inside of it. So if I had my regular hiking boot on, that'd be the same size width as my hiking boot. Probably put this at about a 6-foot bear. I'm guessing, possibly, yeah, at least a 6-foot bear, which is a fair-sized bear. There's a good one of the plus. Oh yeah, for sure, easy 6-foot plus bear. He's off around there somewhere. Now, let's get some voices heard. Alright, here we go. So I guess what's handy, finally have my little canine sidekick here, is I don't have to ask anybody if there's a bear coming up behind me anymore. She's going to let me know without a doubt. But she is still at that age where she is going to, she hears a scary noise still and she just bolts looking for cover. That's how she was originally, that's what she originally learned at birth onward. But anyways, enough of that. Let's get some voices heard while I'm here. Bite my lip on any ranting. I did enough ranting on social media about our current criminal who's in a position which is supposed to be for a leader. And currently, Canada does not have a leader. We do not have a leader currently. Now, where am I going to go? There's so many emails, you guys. So many. Oh, okay. Let's try to get back down the list. What's this one? Okay, all I got in this one is 3 photos with the title, I wear a size width 12 boot. Oh, sorry. I wear a size wide 12 boot. Size wide or size length. And here is some photos of someone who found a print. I don't know who the original emailer is, but I'll share those. And actually, maybe I'll try to share them right here. Let's see. Because, well, I'll tell you what, me trying to find photos and put them on the video later on is such a royal pain in the ass. So let's see if that's going to work. Is that working? Seems dark. I can't tell. Yeah, screw that. I guess I'll have to edit it in. Oh well. I tried, and that's the entire email. So whoever sent that in, if you have a story to go with that, there's more that I missed, or maybe you missed, I don't know, get it to me and we'll get it shared, alright? Alright, here we go. This one's titled Experiences and Knowledge. One of my favorite titles. Love it. Let's get into it. Hello, Steve. I should share my first experience. I don't want my name shared, but you can call me Bubs. I was the kid walking to get the bag I left after a duck hunt. I told you I had more experiences, and I plan to share them in this email. The most recent experience I had was with my brother and nephew. At the time of the weird things we encountered, he was in the back seat of the car sleeping. It was late at night, and it was the opener of the Missouri frog season. No shit, I did not have a clue there's even seasons on frogs myself. We bagged a couple of frog, but nothing we had years prior. This night was full of all sorts of weirdness. It was after dark when we arrived to the first spot, which in years prior, we've slayed frogs out there. This year, almost nothing. Some eaters, but not the big frogs we're used to. The first weird encounter, I've seen plenty of shooting stars, comets, and other things shooting across the night sky. And when I say weird, I don't mean out of the ordinary. I just mean something new to me. This was a huge, lit up. This was huge. It lit up the night sky and had to have fallen no more than 1.5 miles from us. And other things shooting across the night sky. Okay, the first weird encounter, I've seen plenty of shooting stars, comets, and other things shooting across the night sky. And when I say weird, I don't mean out of the ordinary. I just mean something new to me. This was huge. It lit up the night sky and had to have fallen no more than 1.5 miles from us. It was a sight to see. The next thing that happened was while we were wading out into the water, a water snake started circling us. I've never encountered this, neither had my brother. This snake circled us and kept getting closer and closer. My nephew, of course, was not a fan of this snake. My brother, trying to calm him down and tell him it was just a little water snake. I kept my eyes and gigged towards the snake, not wanting to have to stick it and be in the middle of this marsh dealing with a snake stuck on the end of the gig. I kept poking the snake or swatting at it to try and scare it off, but that didn't work. This snake was a consistent little bastard and was pissing me off, confusing the hell out of me. Every other snake encounter I've had, they just try to stay away from people. So that lasted about a minute, and my nephew was ready to leave. So we compromised in going to look for a better spot, LOL. Yeah, man, the power of people being terrified of snakes is huge, overwhelming. I've seen it firsthand. The last spot we checked is a place I've duck hunted a lot and fished a ton. There's a river that the road goes over, and from that bridge I've fished a ton. And the road runs north and south, and the river runs west to east. The marshes that are fed by the river are just south of the river bank and the bridge. It floods a lot there. On this night, we drove slow, going over the bridge, looking at the water for frogs down there. Didn't see anything. I mean, nothing. So, pulled down to the boat launch for those marshes I was talking about, and absolutely no water. I mean, bone dry. So we turned around, headed back over the bridge. I went slow again. So we look again, and this time we spotted a red glowing orb on the North River bank. I stopped, rolled down the window, and my brother got out and walked to the west side of the bridge trying to examine the ember-looking thing. First we thought someone's boat with reflective red tape, but it still glowed with no lights pointed at it. Still confused, I started to notice an awful smell. It smelled like something I would use for catfish bait. So my brother started to holler at the ember because we thought maybe some folks are down there and had a fire going, and now we can just see the red ember glow but no response. It kind of would dimmer and then brighten back up, but was also behind a willow tree and couldn't get any light in there to see what exactly it was. It felt like this was going on for half an hour or more and was probably only 2 or 3 minutes. I was on edge, and my brother, well, he was curious. He kept swaying left and right, trying to get a glimpse. Then he says, "Oh shit, there's like 3 more behind that one in the timber." Then there were 6 more, and 8. I can't remember exactly how many he said he saw because he thought they were coming up through the timber, moving towards the road in front of us. That was all I needed. That was all I needed, exclaimed, and said, "Get the F in, we're out of here." I stayed in the car the whole time and kept it running. I was not about to be stranded out there. As we drove off, we both knew what it was and what it wasn't. I like to think I'm logical, not looking for the unexplained shit, and instead looking for a more logical reason. But with those orbs, I couldn't think of one, and it leaves me puzzled. Both my brother and I have watched your channel for a while, and I can't express how much you have changed my thinking and how we, the people, need to wake the hell up. Amen. There is evil in this world hiding behind its mask and tricking all of us into being those very good little slaves. And what makes slaves even easier to control, split them right down the line. Half have one belief and the other have another belief. The masses have been tricked into arguing each other instead of fighting to keep our rights in the what once was a free world. Anyways, I'm going to skim these next encounters. Summer 2020, night fishing with 4 buddies. One of them I bow hunt with regularly, and he just happened to hear a scream/roar that night that none of us heard. I asked him what it sounded like. His description was high pitch and low all in one, and it made the hairs on his neck stand up. And right after his vocalization, he said the coyotes started and went nuts, which the rest of us heard the coyotes and can confirm they went absolutely bonkers. The next hour, we all couldn't get over a feeling of uneasy, so we decided to leave and told ourselves it was because of no fish bites. Fast forward to 2021 rifle season. I'm set up on the ground about 100 yards behind my brother, who's in a deer stand. We were both on the same travel coordinate of the bucks on the property. It was afternoon sit, probably about an hour before dark. No deer, but we both heard this same one-tone long whistle. I heard it probably 3 times. I don't remember if my brother heard it more than once, but He heard it because he thought it was me. I told him, no, it wasn't me, but I heard the same thing. After the whistles, I shot a coyote, and the next morning my brother shot his biggest buck ever, an 8-point. It would score over 145 inches with ease. That's a beauty. The next story, I don't for when it took me place. Sorry, there's a couple typos, you guys. Patient. The next story, I don't for when it took place. Probably meant I don't know when it took place, but the guy I called Grandpa, I mentioned in the last email, had told me a story one time. Him and his best buddy was called Paul. They had a leased property deer hunting. They said it was around the second or third year of having the lease, and they decided to sleep in the deer blind the night before opener so they could wake up and deer hunt. So that night, right after they had finished dinner, they noticed pebbles or acorns were being thrown at the side of the deer blind. Grandpa said they didn't really put too much worry into what was happening until the slaps on the side of the deer blind and the running up and down the ramp to the door of the blind. They said it would run up and back down the ramp. At one point, it was standing right out the door, scratching the door. I've seen the blind and the way it sat on the side of a ridge top. So on the ramp and door, the bottom of the blind was about 3 feet off the ground. At the opposite end of the blind, the bottom was about 6 feet off the ground. He said slaps were on the opposite end of the thing, running up and down the ramp. The slaps, he said, were hitting above the shooting window, so probably 10 feet off the ground. The one running would shake the entire blind violently. They didn't leave, he said. All that happened in probably about They didn't leave, he said. All that happened in probably about 2 to 3 minutes, and it stopped, and they didn't sleep a wink that night. No doubt. No doubt. He said they had the wood slides over the shooting windows so they didn't see it, but he mentioned the horrible expired meat smell. I don't take him to be one to lie, and he seemed pretty serious about this story. I personally believe Sabe are a result of angels breeding with humans all those years ago. This is some belief that the ETs are actually demonic angels and the devil's demons. That would explain the anti-human beliefs our government has been pushing on us. The devil has our leaders on a leash. ETs may not be from another world, but another dimension. This would explain why Sabe would be able to just disappear and appear out of thin air. This would mean there are 3 dimensions. One above this world we are in, and one below. This world being the launch pad into another. Our souls are energy, and if we could harness all our energy, we too could jump from dimension to dimension. Anyway, that's all for today, Steve. Stay safe and don't get eaten. Okay, man, I'll do my best. Appreciate your time, man. Appreciate your time, and I appreciate you saying that in. And whatever you got in the future, send it. All right? I don't give a shit what the topic is. If it's something that easily points out any kind of what I'm calling a war on humanity, I want to hear about it. You got some important knowledge for the people, I want to hear about it. You got something that's going to help the people, I want to hear about it. All right? Shit's getting serious all over the planet, and it's time we all looked at it all very, very seriously, no matter how uncomfortable it is or how much of a pain in the ass it is. Hold on, this tripod's about to get rocked. Anyway, sorry I had to adjust the dog. But currently, especially in my country, we do not have anyone. There's no one in a position of being a leader right now. Currently here in Canada, I'm pretty sure it's the same story in the U.S. and a few other what could be called the West. When it comes to countries in a whole, the current criminal who's in the position of being leader in Canada is non-stop suppressing the people. It's blatant, it's in our face, non-stop. Crimes are being committed, non-stop. He doesn't have to answer and does not answer any questions, doesn't answer anyone. And I'm not trying to go on a bit of a rant, I'm just saying it's almost time to throw out an SOS somewhere, and what do? We either throw out an SOS or we get tough as F and we fight back, and it's getting to that point. That's just all there is to it. Current criminals today in Canada, they're apparently leaders, they're in the position of leaders, are trying to take all of our legally owned firearms away across the board. All hunting rifles, shotguns, that right now they are pushing to take them away. That's alarming. But anyway, I guess I'm going on a bit of a rant, sorry. There's some very serious items going down right now that need to be dealt with from the people, all right? Somehow, Somehow everybody's gonna have to start thinking for themselves again, being brave, kick-ass, and realizing that we're the boss. We are in control of ourselves, and we represent good, right? Shit, I'm babbling. All right, who do we got? Who is next? Let's go try to get way down the line again. This is titled Lucky Lake, Tocourt, Maine. Sounds familiar. Hey Steve, hope you had a good winter and successful hunting season. I've got to share this experience with my wife and I had 2 weeks ago on a little hike in lake out by Tocourt. This gem is kind of my secret fishing hole. It's Lucky Lake off the Tocourt, Maine, and the road has now been badly deactivated, so even the side-by-side can't make it in there. It's a 3-kilometer hike to the lake, and there are 5 to 8 pound rainbows in there, and they take a fly. Incredible, beautiful, majestic lake. Anyways, man, I took my wife in there for the first time, and as we were walking the trail down to the lake from the old road, we heard a terribly loud banging noise. That repeated very quickly for 8 times. It sounded very much like those big northern BC moose when they whack trees during the rut. You know that sound as well as I do. Anyways, the noise was coming from our side of the lake and not far from where we were, maybe 150 yards down the trail. We stopped dead in our tracks, and although I was carrying my trusted 300 Win Mag in case of a bear, I felt defenseless and vulnerable as hell. My wife, who hikes a lot with me, said, "What the hell was that?" I said, "Well, I know what it wasn't. It wasn't no damn bull moose, and it wasn't a bear." So I said, "Let's come back another day," and she agreed, but continued to ask me what that was. I told her what I thought it was. One of those bastards was there and didn't want us to continue to the lake. She wasn't very impressed and made short work of the 3 kilometers back to the side-by-side. I'm not done, dude. Last weekend I went back to the lake by myself because if I'm gonna die, I want to die in the woods. I wanted some more big rainbows. So this time, as I walked the trail to the lake, not a sound. I get the canoe dragged to the water, put my gun in the boat and my fly rod, and I'm off fishing for the day. Well, I'm 100 yards from shore, paddling away while dragging a fly, and what do I hear on the opposite side of the lake but bang, 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 bang. Some effing deafening loud bang 6 times and very close together. You could swing a baseball bat that fast. You could or could not swing a baseball bat that fast on a tree, man, no way. I stopped paddling and listen, and it does 3 more bangs and then all quiet. I was a little on edge, I must admit. The 300 was loaded beside me. I fished for the day, headed out, but I was watching my back the entire way out. Those uppers are on the west coast, dude. I've had a cabin at Salmon Beach for 15 years, and I've hiked and hunted all around Tocourt and Kennedy Lake, and this is the first time I've seen any sign of them. Anyways, pal, take care, stay safe. We now live pretty close to each other. Maybe one day we can share a campfire and a beer and share theories. I think shit's gonna hit the fan here soon, and everyone's gonna know the truth. Talk soon, Steve. Keep it wild, man. Darren Clark. Darren, thanks for writing again, man. For all you guys, you're probably not remembering specific names, but Darren was hunting near Goldbridge, British Columbia, where I've frequented a shit pile tons, and there's a ton of sightings there. And he had one of these things motoring down a basin, which he was nestled in complete full cover with his rifle, mountain hunting. And he said that this thing had a look on his face like it was old, haggard, and tired. And he said this thing looked square into his eyeballs through his scope as he followed it down that scree slide with his rifle. So this man who's written it again, he's very familiar with what's going on outside, right? We're in that Tocourt, Maine. Now I remember where that is. That is before you get to, or maybe, no, yeah, just past, as soon as you hit Kennedy Lake, coming from, say, Port Alberni, on your way to Tofino, where you fuel it, the lake's on the right-hand side. And once you start seeing the lake for a little bit, there's a left-hand turn, a logging road that goes to where he said he has his cabin, where this went down. And there's also First Nations community there. And I've learned through my other First Nations friends that The people in that community basically see these things nightly, to the point that when friends, cousins, whoever come over, they say, oh, we saw another Sasquatch on the road in tonight. Oh yeah, that's how common it is out there. Now, thanks for sending that in, man. I'm sure I'll see you. We'll have to get together one day. Right now, I am up to my nuts. Busy. I'm almost caught up, though. Almost caught up. Now, how many of you would go back there fly fishing anyway, after seeing one of these for real in broad daylight and then experiencing those bangs in the tree? Not too many. Right? Not too many. Holy, this is a long one. Real long. Okay. I don't think we have enough time to start that one at this point of the game. Alright, let's leave this one. This is titled Screams in the Night. Marked as red. What are you doing? You tangled up? Yeah, you're alright. Screams in the Night. Hello from Scotland, Steve. I've been watching your YouTube channel for 2 years now, and although I've never encountered a Sasquatch, or any of Scotland's very dangerous little people, aka the gentry, thank God, I had a very strange and scary experience in the middle of the night many years ago. We were living in a tenement block in one of the outer housing estates, suburbs of a city. About 2 blocks north is a large bird sanctuary in a marsh, and then the farmer's fields. The housing estate is also home to a number of urban foxes, and one gets to know the sounds they make, especially the vixen's screech. One night I was sound asleep until I was awakened by the most blood-chilling screams I've ever heard. I thought somebody was getting murdered in my building. Completely awake and frightened, I got up, ran to the windows to try to discover which direction the sound was coming from. It appeared to be coming from the marsh. I then wondered if it was caused by a rabbit that a fox got a hold of. The screams went on and then suddenly stopped. I listened for a while but heard no more. I went back to bed, and just as I was snuggling down, I heard something even more frightening. Something was flying towards my building. As it flew, it made 3 incredibly loud sounds all the same time. A hoarse screech, a very deep growl, and a tick, tick, tick. The noise got louder and louder, and as it approached and then flew over the building and faded away in the distance. In the morning, I asked my neighbors what animal or bird could have possibly made that terrible racket, but nobody knew. Nobody nor had they heard it. My kids slept through the whole thing. I hope somebody will have some idea of what this thing was. I'm relieved to report that I've never heard it since. Thank you for making a safe place for us to share experiences, Steve, and God bless you for your service to others. Kind regards, Heather. Heather, appreciate you sending that in. You're brave. And I guarantee you, if somebody else has heard that or seen it, they're going to comment about it in the comment section below, or they're going to email in. Without a doubt. Without a doubt, this is a safe place to talk, a safe place to share knowledge. One of the few today, but there's more avenues that are being created non-stop. Alright, here we go again. What's this one? Title, this is Red. Hi Steve, I'm resending this. I hope it gets to you and all is well. Take care. Made it. Hi Steve. Hello, thank you for all the videos of work you've done. Like several other people, I've had several encounters of the weird kind. I grew up in beautiful Lake Tahoe. My family moved there in 1963. Whenever my parents were fighting, I would run to the forest to seek some peace. I was taught mind over matter while in the forest. I can remember running barefoot in the icy stream and not feeling the cold, and how to hide, go seek, not move a muscle. I spent more time in the forest and meadows than at home. For over 58 years, I thought I was with my brother all these times. I texted him the other day and asked him if he remembered doing these things with me. He said, no, I can't remember at all. Like it was yesterday. At the age of 21, everything changed. My husband and I moved into a house riddled with high strangeness and horror. The history of the house was sad, and the man who built the house died in it. The neighbor told me a story and to take care of myself and family. From what I could understand, the last owner built the house for his wife. After a long time working on the house, right before it was finished, she died of cancer. The man had a pet that he loved and took care of. The neighbor never saw it. The neighbor never saw it, but he could hear the man talking to it. He thought it was a big dog. When we moved in, I didn't know the history or anything about the house. It was a rental. My husband seen it while driving to yard sales. The day we moved in, there was dog urine and poop all over. I had to scrub everything, floors and walls. For some reason, the stink of wet dog, rotting flesh, urine, and sulfur would come up through the walls. I thought a dead animal died underneath the house, so I sent my husband underneath to look. There wasn't anything there. Not long after living there, late at night when my family was asleep, the wall would move and moan. It moved so much I thought it was an earthquake. Next, my youngest daughter started talking to make-believe friend. She was just starting to walk and talk. She was playing on the floor next to me and said, "Oni wants in." I told her there's no one here. She goes, oh. He's going to mad. Must have meant you're going to get mad. So she put her head down and our two French doors slammed open and shattered. I thought it had to be the wind. While laying in bed one morning, I was laying on my side away from the stairs. There wasn't a rug on the 2x4s making the steps up this. There wasn't rug on the 2x4s making the steps, and upstairs very squeaky. I could hear the steps being stepped on from something heavy coming up. I heard a voice in my head, "Close your eyes and don't move." This huge thing walked up the stairs and around my bed for a few minutes. It seemed forever. Then it disappeared. The voice said, "Get your children and leave." And I did. We moved all the way across the United States. I've seen the hairy man crawling like a spider, and I've seen 3 large does stand in a busy street scared to death. There's so much more to tell. But enough of your time's been taken up. I love to watch your old videos with your horses in them. I grew up with rescue horses and dogs. They were my best friends, and I miss them all the time. Thank you for all you do. Your friend, Cindy Hayes. Okay, Cindy, I'm surprised you actually took this opportunity to share what many of us would consider a haunted house story. If you've already seen one of these forest beings walking like a spider, with the theme of what everybody seems to write in, I'm surprised you didn't write about that one first. Ugh. So, if you get a chance, the next time if you get a chance to write in, obviously people are going to want to hear about your experience with the hairy beings of the forest, right? I think a little pup here's ready to ride home. She rode like this all the way down here, and she's had enough of being tethered up on the edge of the lake. We'll see if she'll sit here and let me get one more read out. Not that she has a choice, so she's the boss. And I know a lot of you are laughing, saying, yes, she is the new boss. No, she's not. No, she's not. Now, what do we got? Sit. Good girl. Alright, what do we got here? There's no title on this one. Marked as red. Hi, Steve. I believe that I forgot to tell you. Please feel free to use my story and name at will in my previous 2 emails. I want to thank you and everyone else for having a safe place to get this out of my mind. I was starting to believe that I was going crazy, lol. The shared stories on your platform have caused me to really think about all the years I've been going to deer camp and question every experience I've had. One that sticks out above the rest is the wolf howl that me and my wife experienced while camping in May of 2017. We were tenting it. It was my wife, dog, Jake, and myself, 6 miles from the nearest road in Oscoda County, Michigan. Oscoda? We're using a queen-size inflatable mattress that my dog had punctured on the first night. That sucks. Needless to say, sleeping through the night was not going to happen. I finally gave up at approximately 4 a.m., stoked the fire back up, and put on a pot of coffee. Just me and the dog while my wife slept. The only protection I had was a .22, pretty laughable looking back, lol. All of a sudden, within 100 yards from the campsite and directly in front of me was a wolf howl. My dog, a mountain cur, whimpered and ran into the tent. My wife, who was sound asleep, sat up in bed and asked, "What the hell was that?" And here I sit, abandoned by my dog, holding a pretty much useless .22 long rifle and scared shitless. I told my wife to grab her shit and get back in the truck, and we sat in the truck till daylight, packed up and left. Here's the thing that doesn't sit right with me. Besides the fact that there are not supposed to be wolves in the lower peninsula of Michigan, the howl I heard was almost exactly like you would hear in the old werewolf and Dracula movies. I've since heard gray wolf howls, and they are not the same as what we heard that morning. Couple that with what my buddy Keith saw on the island in the swamp, what he described as a skewed wolf-like creature that was bigger than any animal he'd ever seen. And I think there are only 2 different creatures in the woods and swamp I've been hunting my entire life. Again, I thank you for giving us a platform, Steve. It's much appreciated and needed. N-O-E mail. Okay, man, Ed, I'm going to have to do some digging. I hope I remember to find your previous 2 emails. Shit, if you get a chance when you guys do that and write me in again, you should possibly just be forwarding that previous email with the note on top of it, because you would have had them read right now. Wolves in Michigan, I do know they're there. I have some friends of mine in Michigan. Howell, Michigan. I met them guiding years ago. I guided them in the Yukon, and they have a deer hunting camp in the UP, and they have a shit pile of wolves there. Dog traction of wolves. I have been in guide camp, and for any of you who don't think that a wolf will howl right near where you're camping, they do. And I don't know how many times I've been in a remote cabin in the middle of frickin' nowhere, and we've had wolves come through camp on all sides, not just passing by one side. Found out howling on the airstrip, which is 20 meters from the porch of my cabin. I've had him howling. It sounded like the sucker was right outside the one window by my bunk in the cabin, howling. And we were out there in our underwear with our headlamps on, a rifle, seeing if we could spot one. And the camp dog we had, well, she just sat at her feet, didn't make a word, didn't seem scared at all. She just sat at her feet, looking into the blackness towards the wolves, while we were standing there with the headlamps on in our underwear with our rifles, seeing if we might be able to dust one or more of them. But the times that I've had packs of wolves howling or near me, and I have had dogs with us, the dogs never acted scared, ever. They just sit there with you like, oh, what's up, right? And when they smell the track or even wolf kills, they don't put their tails between their legs and act like they're shooting themselves from wolves. Not that I've noticed yet anyway myself. So whatever that was, I have a funny feeling your dog knows what it was and didn't like it. But anyway, I should probably get this little thing home. She's trying to pass out. I guess she's still a bit of an infant, right? She's starting to fall asleep on the top of the quad. Anyway, I'll be back again, sharing more. I want to get out in the woods more. I've been at home, busier and shit indoors for a week. I can't take it. And we're getting close to possibly being able to catch a steelhead too, so can't wait to start doing that. I'm trying to get my best underwater video I can ever get again. And it looks like I'm going to have a sidekick with me for steelhead fishing this winter. She is done like dinner, aren't you? Okay, time to go home. Share my story at howtohunt.com. That's where you send them in. We'll be back again. There you go. Just sit there, hang out for a second. All right. Hold on a minute. Hold on. You have fun?